So when I was growing up in Maine, one of my favorite things to do is to find mm, sand dollars on the seashores in Maine because my parents told me that it would bring me luck. But it was very hard to find. It was covered in the sand, so it's really difficult to see. However, over time, I got used to seeing patterns. I got used to finding them. I started to see shape and patterns that helped me to collect it. That grew a passion for finding things and a love for past and archaeology. And eventually, I started studying Egyptologists. I realized that seeing with my naked eyes alone wasn't enough because all of a sudden in Egypt, my beach had grown from the tiny beach in Maine to one 800 miles long next to the Nile, and my seashell had grown up to the size of cities. It's really what brought me to using the satellite imagery for trying to map the landscape. I knew that I had to see differently. So I want to show you an example of how we see differently using the infrared. This site is located in Egyptian Delta called Mendes, and it appears visibly brown. But when we use the infrared and we process it, all of a sudden, using false color, it appears as bright pink. What you are seeing is the actual chemical changes to the landscape caused by the building materials and activities of ancient Egyptian. What I want to show you today is how we used satellite data to find the ancient Egyptian city called Etenawe, missing for thousands of years. Etenawe is ancient Egyptian capital over 400 years. In the period of time called the Middle Kingdom, about 4,000 years ago. This site is located in Fayum, Egypt, and this site is very important because there was this great renaissance in the Middle Kingdom of Egyptian art, architecture, and religion. Egyptologists have always known that Etenawe was located somewhere near the pyramids of two kings who built it, indicated within these red circles here. But somewhere in this massive flat plain, this area is huge, It's 4 miles by 3 miles in size. And now the Nile used to flow right next to the city. As it shifted and changed and moved over time to the east, it covered over the city. So how do you find in this vast landscape? Finding it randomly is the equivalent of locating a needle in a haystack, blindfolding, wearing baseball mitt. What we did was we used the satellite data to map out the landscape, very subtle changes. We started to able to see where the Nile used to flow, but we can see in more detail, even more interestingly, this very slight raised area, which we thought could possibly be this location of city of Vetinawe. So we started collaborating with Egyptian scientists to do coring work. When I say coring, it's like ice coring, but instead of layers of climate change, we look for layers in human occupation. 5 meters down, underneath a thick layer of mud, we have a dense layer of pottery. What this shows is that in this possible location of Vetinawe, 5 meters down, we have a dense layer of occupation dating for several hundred years, dating to the Middle Kingdom, dating to the exact period of time we think Vetinawe is. We also have work stones. This shows that there was a jeweler's workshop here. This might not look like much, but when you think about the most common stones used in jewelry from the Middle Kingdom, these are the stones that are used. So we have a dense layer of occupation dating to the Middle Kingdom. We also have an elite jeweler's workshop showing that whatever it was the very important city. No Vetinawe is there yet, but we are going to be returning to this site to map it out, and more importantly, we have finding to train young Egyptians in the use of satellite technology so that they can be the ones making these great discoveries. I wanted to end with my favorite quote from the Middle Kingdom, and it was probably written in Vetinawe 4,000 years ago. Sharing knowledge is the best of all callings. It's nothing like it. In the land. So it turns out TED is not founded in 1984 AD. making ideas actually started in 1984 BC. It certainly puts the finding seashores in perspective.